Welcome back to the Teradek booth, and for the next section of the newshooter.com live show, I'm joined by G Technology and one of their ambassadors, Camille, who's a photographer and a filmmaker, or mainly a photographer and a filmmaker.
Yes, we could
And
say.
like all photographers and filmmakers, you have storage needs. Is that right?
Oh yes, quite a lot.
So tell me, what do you do in a nutshell? And then obviously, why does that require you have decent storage from these guys?
Yes, so what I try to specialize is adventure photography and filmmaking. I'm actually taking the very first steps in adventure filmmaking.
Pretty good first steps, I have to say. I've seen some of your work.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate. What I really try to exploit and drill is long exposure themes in photography. So, staying for long nights on the glaciers, especially in the European Alps, and not only photographing some starry skies, but also adding people to that. And actually, a core part of my filmmaking evolves around not only storytelling, but also photo education. So together with some producers from Belgium, we did a piece about underwater photography. And now actually I'm preparing to start shooting in coming weeks in the Alps a program about long exposure night photography for Epic TV Adventure channel. And of course, for this particular program, the storage needs are very big because we want to shoot it in 4K. And a core part of the program is supposed to be made of really stunning long exposure passages. So lots of raw material.
So what is your workflow with this? What camera are you using actually, you'd like to say?
Right now we are mainly for working with Canon cameras, but for the documentary itself we're going to be probably using Red Epic.
Okay, so you're going to have really large files, and the Red presumably records to its own SSD, and then you're dumping that file to something like this?
Yes, absolutely. So in the field we are using a mobile drives from G-Tech, a variety. We always have a 13-inch Mac Pro to confirm the footage, because on the tiny screen you see very little detail, especially from time lapses. And after that, usually in the car, we have a Mac with a bigger drive, like this one, like a RAID array, where we actually dump everything. Because, well, in the mountains, we always at the mercy of the weather, and every day that you spend shooting, you always check the weather, and you never know. You're at the mercy of elements, and so we can't afford to lose any footage. Of course, everything has to be done very quickly. Not to mention also that the fact that batteries discharge, and you really want to do things quickly to stay really efficient.
So I'm going to turn to Ian for a minute. So Ian, what are the latest solutions from G Technology for a guy like Camille to use?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you talk about the portable nature, etc. So yesterday we brought in the 4-bay box. Wanted to bring in the little brother. So what we have here is the G RAID Studio.
Here you go.
Oh yes, perfect. Thank you.
Here's a camera.
G RAID Studio. Again, the most important thing with the Studio series is that everything is going to be enterprise class inside of it. So we can turn this around. We've taken all kinds of little things into account. One of them being illuminated. Obviously, we're not plugged in right now, but there's an illuminated G. You can dim that
That's the most important part.
It really is, especially because we thought of every little detail. Like the guys in the really dark rooms for days on end, you can turn off the light completely. It'll go red if there's an error, but of course our job is to make sure that they're as reliable and stable as possible. So with the enterprise class drives and with the helium class, this little box, you can get 12 terabytes.
So for those people who weren't listening yesterday or watching yesterday, helium. You put helium in the drives. Yeah,
so it's an amazing process. So, we've got all the patents, etc. But when you think about it, oxygen has a lot of friction. Remember when you were a little kid, stick your hand out the window, and when your parents went fast enough, your hand started doing this?
Yep.
Well, the same thing happens when a drive rotates in air.
The spinning drive,
exactly.
The platters.
So to reduce any of the oscillation, or the heads on the drives doing this, you fill the drive with helium, and it's going to make it a much more stable platform, which means we can fit, what we call aerial density. You can get more data per sector on the drive. So it's all proprietary to HGST, and you get unbelievable performance out of the drive.
Okay, so let's say, what performance do you get out of this specific drive? What capacities does this come in?
So right now you get a 6, an 8, and a 12.
In this size?
In this size, yeah. And the 12 terabytes is going to be with the helium technology. And in a RAID 0 environment with 2 drives now, you're getting just under 400 megs per second. So, we had a guy who was coming by the booth earlier, and we were talking about he's shooting on Red, he's doing 5K, 6K workflows, etc. And when you're shooting 5 to 1,
you need to get rid of it quickly.
Yeah, and you can play that back in real time on a dual drive solution now.
Okay, great. Well, I think we've got a pretty good picture about that drive. If people want to know more about the drives or Camille's work, where can they go to?
www.g-technology.com.
Okay. Ian, Camille, thank you very much for coming on the show.
You.
Thanks for having us again.
And hopefully we'll see you again next year.
Absolutely, look forward to it.
Okay,
Cheers.
and we'll be right back after a very short break.